This is your election headquarters, and we start on the campaign trail. It's the final push for many of these presidential candidates. Well, on Wednesday, President Mahama was in the Eastern region. We are told that he's quickly dashing to the Volta region in an attempt to woo voters there. And my colleague Maxwell Agbagba is currently traveling with him, and we'll get more updates on what exactly he's heading to the Volta region to do. But prior to going to the Eastern region on Wednesday, former President Mahama spoke to JoyNews about allegations of vote buying against government, and he insists that the Inspector General of Police is being economic with the truth in his response to that particular allegation. He also alleged that some monies have been paid to the police ahead of Tuesday's special voting to influence them to vote in the favor of government.
The fact we have is that it went well. It was generally calm, and as many people as possible voted. There were a few complaints of some people whose names were not on the list, even though they had registered. I don't think it's earth-shaking because I haven't heard it generally. There are a few of those complaints, but aside from that, special voting is something we've done over the years. When it's finished, the ballot boxes are sealed and kept until 7th, and then they are added to the general vote count. So it's nothing special. People will speculate that somebody won and somebody won. The only thing untoward was people were taking pictures of their paper. The vote is supposed to be secret, and so it means that the EC must look at that and do something about it. It's not true.
Okay.
I was not talking of the 600. The 600 is their duty allowance, I know that. But monies were paid into their accounts. Investigate yourself.
Okay.
Aside from what the IGP talked about as their duty allowance, monies were paid into people's accounts. I don't say it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that if the purpose is to influence them, you know, then it's inappropriate, and I don't think it will bite their consciences. You see, the thing about the security services is, it's not before an election you give them 1,000 Ghana cedis or 2,000 Ghana cedis, you know, but it is the morale of the service, the confidence they have, how you treat them, and all that kind of thing, you know, and we go more for raising their confidence, raising their respect in the eyes of the public, you know, making them feel confident to do their work, giving them the logistics to be able to do their work. But when you have a government that infiltrates the service with thugs and vigilantes and all that, send them for 4 weeks training when they should be trained for 6 months to be proper police officers, and just put them into the service, you realize that the level of indiscipline and all that kind of thing begins to take place. Do you remember the incident of a driver with party people in a police vehicle? How can that happen under any normal administration? You know, so aside from the 600 allowance they've been giving, monies were paid into their accounts. I can say that on authority. I work with police officers. I have relatives in the police service. And so the IGP was being economical with the truth. Oh, the scholarship secretariat did? Oh, okay.
Yesterday they announced that they're giving
a scholarship to first years.
Yeah, first years.
Oh, okay, well.
That's after you announced the funding now.
Well, we didn't know that. What happens is our education committee, you know, came up with a recommendation and said that the fees that the first years have to pay are quite bigger than what the continuing students pay. And so if you do the Chimpe policy, they are not likely to benefit as much as the continuing students. And so we should do something more, you know, significant for them. And they did the costing and they brought it. The party looked at it, yeah. And the chairman called me and said, based on the recommendation of the education committee, they decided that for first years they would cover the full fees so that they can cushion them for the first year. They have a crooked election, you understand? We have more to complain about a flawed election than, I mean, government. The government party say won't accept the results of a crooked election. You control the security, you virtually control the EC. You understand? You changed all the EC commissioners, brought your own commissioners. Every step that they have taken shows, you know, a certain partisan inclination towards you. An EC commissioner says that NDC is the greatest threat to democracy in Ghana, and he still has his job, you know. I mean, you do things that when we raise issues where you just poo-poo us, you know, and I mean, look at when they were talking with the loudspeakers on without knowing that they were being heard. I mean, just listen to the comments the EC commissioners were making. Do you need any more convincing, you know, that they are not as partial as they should be? You know, and the thing is, we've run elections over the years. We're a political party since '92. And so we've seen different commissions, we've seen the evolution of our electoral system. And so we know what is right. Ghana's electoral system is held as one of the best, you know. And so when you have a new commission come and they are not even able to follow their own law, you understand? Why should we go to court after you've eliminated 30,000 names from the register? It should be you giving the names out and saying, look, your names have been taken off for this and this and that reason. But and a CSO has to go to court to try to compel you to publish the names so that on the day 30,000 people don't go and their names are not on the register. I mean, is that rocket science? Is that something that NDC and the EC should even quarrel about? You know,
you have confidence in the G-Mensa-led EC?
They'll have to win my confidence. So far in the process leading up to the election, I will mark them as below average.
You just watched excerpts of that interview the NDC's flag bearer John Dramani Mahama had with my colleague Emefa Apau. We are following his campaign and will bring you all the info you need to know on that. But the campaign manager of the NPP, Peter McMahon, says the main objective of their campaign is to win the December elections with 1.5 million votes in the presidential ballots. He, however, says the NPP will not be complacent despite surveys which are projecting a win for them on December 7. He spoke with Mamavio Usabwaji earlier in an interview.
The campaign has been smooth. The campaign has been peaceful. The campaign has been civil, based on ideas. Me and my team, the campaign team, have been working extremely hard because our target, our objective is to win one touch with a margin of victory of over 1.5 million votes in the presidential and 66% of the parliamentary seats, which is close to 198 to 206. So once we had set ourselves these ambitious targets, it only takes a hard work to be able to achieve them. That's exactly what our team, the NPP campaign team, led by me, are doing.
Set yourself, and as you say, an ambitious targets. There are various polls that put you in the lead ahead of your main contender, the NDC's candidate, John Mahama. But there is also another poll that uses the statistical methodology that says that it won't be a one-touch victory in this 2020 election.
Well, you see, we do have been told by various researchers and pollsters that we're going to win one touch. Nevertheless, we're not going to go asleep. We are not going to be complacent. We are working extremely hard because, you see, in elections, the magic to the victory is hard work.
We stay a while on election-related matters, and the Ashanti Region's Electoral Commission office is unwilling to change its choice of collation centre for the Asawasi constituency, despite objections by the NDC. Director of the commission there, Benjamin Banobio, says the Asokore Mamponghinis Palace remains the best place for the process. Nanaya Ojima has been comparing the previous collation centre with the current one, and here's his report.
The incumbent Member of Parliament for Asawase constituency has objected to the use of the Asukariman Palace as a collation center for December 7 polls. For him, the area is unsuitable because of heavy vehicular traffic in the evening and the bushy environment.
One, the place is obscured. It's at the outskirts of the city. It is surrounded by bush that could easily be used as hideouts. There are a lot of uncompleted houses there that could also be used as hideouts. Also, everybody in this constituency knows in the morning the traffic is from Asukariman towards town, and in the evening the traffic is from town towards Asukariman.
Love News visit to the area indicates the street lights are well lit with installed security cameras. A woody space opposite the palace is being developed by the local assembly. This is the Asukariman Chief's Palace, the point the Electoral Commission has chosen for collation of ballots for the Asawase constituency on December 7th. As you can see, it's a huge acreage of land, well fenced, and security is high here in the palace. Behind me is the court the EC will use as the point during the collation. Ashanti Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Benjamin Banobiu, says the choice was carefully made, taking all necessary security and safety protocols into consideration.
Convenience is a place that you have selected, convenient to be used as a collation center. Is it accessible that people can go there? Is it spacious? You know, we are not in normal times. Is it spacious enough to ensure social distancing? These are some of the things we consider. And when we locate collation centers, we give it to the police for them to also go and investigate or look around those centers as to whether they can provide effective security.
So here is the Nuru Amin Senior High School in the Asawase constituency, and this is the area, or this is the point that was used as a collation center for the 2016 general elections. So the school has 3 different exit points, and I'm standing in front of the main entry to the school. So there are other 2, both on my left side. Within the compound is another fencing that has only 1 exit point and 2 others in the main building before you get to the hall that was used in the previous elections.
It is just a ground floor of a story building, and the room or the hall is not all that spacious. It cannot contain 100 people. And the chairs are so close to each other. It has only 1 entry point, and that's the same entry point they use as the exit point. And the compound are littered with stones, which can easily be, easy weapon for anybody to throw.
For JoyNews, Naniagara reporting.
This is your election headquarters. You're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. We'll be going back to election-related news shortly. But before that, accessibility to public places remains a key need for persons living with disability in Ghana. Advocacy to ensure policies are enacted in their favor is yet to see the light of day. Emanuela Hayford is a physically challenged second-year student of the University of Ghana, pursuing her academic aspirations. Like many others, access to a number of public places, including her lecture halls, is a daily challenge. As the world marks Disability Day today, she opens up to JoyNews about how she's been coping on campus, particularly accessing her lecture halls. This story was first aired in July this year.
This is a daily struggle of Emanuela Catherine Hayford, a student with physical disability at the University of Ghana, Legon. She makes her way from the ground floor to the third floor anytime she attends 5 different lectures. Climbing a flight of steep stairs makes her tired and leaves her drenched in sweat. For 8 months, she's expected to be used to climbing up and descending the stairs. But Catherine says making it up and down strains her and leaves her body aching throughout the day and night. Worst of it all is when she has to use the washroom. Catherine says she is forced to retain her urine and descend slowly to the ground floor to ease herself, an experience she describes as humiliating.
I go to class panting, like short of breath, like it's a hassle. Like I basically don't feel the need to be in class because it's stressful. Even the stares alone you get from people when they see you sweating and panting, even the stares they will give to you alone is a different thing altogether, and it's sad.
On a daily, she has to journey up to the lecture room an hour ahead of schedule in order to secure a seat. Such is her daily nightmare in a quest to access education.
All my lectures are on JQB top floor. I'll have to take the staircase, about 30 staircases before I get up there, and my class is at the far end. And with that, I have to wake up very early in the morning. If I have class at 7:30, I have to make sure I'm ready by 6 so that I'll come and take the staircase at my own pace and go and settle and wait for the lecture to come. And it's really a struggle.
Because of a daily stress in accessing the lecture room, sometimes she misses classes, and that is taking a toll on her academic work.
Yesterday, for instance, I had to miss lecture because my lecture was on the top floor, the top floor of JQB. So I had to miss that lecture because the trauma I passed through taking the staircase. Yes.
A bus for students with mobility challenges transports her to and from lectures. But days that the bus is unavailable, Catherine would have to either spend 12 Ghana cedis for a taxi or forfeit class. She admits this is having an adverse effect on her studies.
At times we'll be given group works and we would have to meet at a particular point to discuss or make contribution. And all these places are not accessible for persons with disabilities, so I would have to opt out, which means I'll lose marks there.
The University of Ghana established an office for students with special needs to cater for the welfare of individuals with any form of disabilities. The office is supposed to make sure that the school reasonably accommodates Catherine by ensuring all lectures are organized in rooms accessible to all. But the coordinator of the office says Emanuela's plight is yet to come to her attention.
Catherine hasn't informed me about her lectures being at JQB. I know about Catherine, I know she has difficulties, but what I know is that our bus takes her to and from her lectures. But as to the fact that she's at the top floor of JQB, she hasn't told me. I didn't know that. If I had known, we'd have tried to do something about it. And they shouldn't wait till this is the 6th week of lectures. I mean, if we know at the beginning of the semester, then we can do something about it. But if she waits till this long, then it's more difficult to do something about it. So long term, we have to make the buildings accessible. And I've been saying that every opportunity I get. It is the law. It is in our own policy. We recently had a policy approved. So long term, definitely the university will have to make these buildings accessible.
In 2006, Ghana passed the Disability Law Act 715, which aimed at ending the discrimination that faces people with disability. A 10-year moratorium given by the Act for old buildings to be renovated to disability-friendly status has indeed not been met. The moratorium ended in 2016. Students like Catherine therefore go through unnecessary strain to access education. But Catherine is determined to rise above the odds. As she climbs the academic ladder, she wants to be aided with a prosthetic leg.
So my number one wish is to get a prosthetic leg. Yeah, that would be my number one wish right now. So to feel comfortable, walk normally.
Until then, Catherine would continue to face discrimination in the quest to satisfy her academic thirst and hunger. Emmanuel Jivenus reports for JoyNews.
Access to public buildings and facilities is not the only challenge. If you're a person living with disability in Ghana, getting a job is almost always an uphill task. Employers are likely not to recruit a man with hearing impairment or a woman with Down syndrome. On International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities, JoyNews puts the spotlight on challenges faced by these individuals and how their livelihoods are affected by the discrimination. Yes, Judith Awotwe-Tando's report.
In the past, disability was seen as a curse, with many persons of disability being unfairly treated. After decades of several educational and political interventions, the situation does not appear to have changed. Persons with disabilities still face stigmatization and are often excluded from social activities.
When I sometimes walk, they thought I've taken an alcohol, so kids will make fun of me and they'll be saying all sorts of things. But I know it's a condition of me and cannot be changed.
George Best was born with cerebral palsy. After 26 years of living with his condition, George still faces the same stigma he suffered years back.
Generally, they see people living with disability as beggars, and they don't give them the chance to, prove themselves. I've been to a ministry looking for a job, and then they sacked me out of that particular ministry, saying I've been looking for a job with a fit certificate.
Ya has lived with a leg disability for 48 years. Although she has managed to bag a degree, she still has concerns the system is not disability friendly.
Within public facilities, everywhere that you go, buildings, people are there who work there are not disability friendly. From the security man, for example, if you take the ministry, for example, it tells you no taxis allowed.
With the glaring challenges faced by persons with disabilities, there is the need for a commitment by the state to implement policies aimed at improving their welfare. Many of them are helpless, and only a state intervention will save them. Judith Awotwe-Tando's report for JoyNews.
It's 4 days to election 2020, and presidential parliamentary candidates are making the final push to convince voters to vote for them. Let's take you live now to the Ashanti region. Presidential correspondent Elton Brobe is there with President Akufo-Addo's campaign team. Elton, we understand the president has wrapped up his tour of the Ashanti region. Give us a wrap of what he's been up to there. Hello, Elton. Well, we're trying to work the lines, and hopefully we'll be able to hear Elton. But President Akufo-Addo is in the Ashanti region. We understand he's wrapped up his tour there. He's heading to the Eastern region. He did a couple of things while in the Ashanti region. We know that he visited a mining community where he defended his work in the mining sector with regards to the fight against galamsey, insisting it's the way to go, and he's ready to stand, or he stands by his position on fighting the menace and ensuring that the environment is kept safe. We understand that we have Elton back on the line. Hello, Elton. Good morning. Can you kindly tell us what the president was up to in the Ashanti region, even as he's wrapped up his tour?
Good morning, and we have just left the Ashanti region on our way to some parts of the Eastern region, specifically Akimodas, whom others who performed and before the president will wrap it up in the Greater Accra region between Friday and Saturday with a bomb rally at Mantabona on Saturday afternoon. So Kumasi, the Ashanti regional campaign tour came to an end last night at Ashtown in the Manchester South constituency, where Education Minister Dr. Matthew Pukupepe is a member of Parliament and is still on the ticket of the NPP for the next 4 years. The issue about the 3 years just came up very highly because obviously we are talking about the Education Minister. President Akufo-Addo's comments was no different from what he said when, as to who brought about the implementation debate came up about. He insisted that there's no doubt, there's no question about who implemented free senior high school, and that even a child born today will know that the implementation was done by his administration, and no one can take credit for that. And the government is rather looking at perfecting the program, hopefully in the next term of the Akufo-Addo administration, so that they will continue to guarantee sound education for the populace. The agenda is that in the next 2 years, we will have a very educated population in the country. That is the president's vision of the senior high school policy system. But they encourage people to go out and vote. He says that without their vote, it will not form the next government. But there are some things that he's already won, cannot give him.
All right.
For that reason, yeah, very.
Elton, it appears we are losing you a bit. I understand you're on the move, so that is expected. But quickly, as we wrap up this conversation, many have questioned why the president has been to the Ashanti region quite a number of times in the past 2 months, considering that it is their stronghold, I mean the NPP. Have you been able to pick up from the campaign team why he's been visiting the Ashanti region quite a lot in recent times?
It's very difficult to hear you because
all right. Then we'll leave it here, Elton. Hopefully when we get to a place with stable network, we can answer that question. That's Elton Brobe. He's a presidential correspondent, and he was just giving us details of the president's tour of the Ashanti region. It's 4 days to the election. We are told he's heading to the Eastern, and then later he comes back to the Greater Accra region, where he will wrap up his campaign before elections on Monday. And if you're not aware, Monday has been declared a public holiday. The president announced that through his communications bureau at the presidency. And so that's just for you to know. Tomorrow is no longer a holiday. That's been scrapped. And Monday is a holiday. And this is to encourage people to go out and vote. So we'll be bringing you more on election-related matters here on your election headquarters. This is your election headquarters, and I'm Bernice Abubedolansa with the News Desk. Now, some 14 persons arrested days ago following a violent clash between supporters of the NPP and NDC in Naniagara constituency in the Northeast region have been arraigned. Northeast regional correspondent Elias Satanko was at the Walewale District Court and reports.
Our reservation with the security setup is that they came the very day the incident took place. They made some arrests. I think they arrested 5 people from the other side of the divide where the incident started. And then they also came to Yaba here and picked some of our people too, about 4 people, making them 9. only for the military men to come in the night again, and they were going around picking the NDC guys without the presence of the police. And we have our reservation with regards to that. Because what we don't know is that whether they are really, those military men are coming from the Ghana military force, that one we can't tell. But the very first day they came, I think they came, it was a joint team of the military and the police. The deputy regional commander was here, and the Walwali district commander, he was also here. But the next time they came alone, and they were going, attacking people, beating people, and taking them away. So far, they have arrested about 5 people and took them to Walwali, which we don't know why they have done that. Because somebody cannot sit somewhere and be writing a list of names and giving to you, and upon that you are acting. But when we gave you our list, you refused to take that. So we have found that to be an arbitrary arrest they are making. And if they don't stop that, I don't think the response they will get from us will be good.
I said the whole incident started when the current MP went to my hometown to do a rally. And he went there and he saw people wearing NPP t-shirts. Then his supporters bounced on them and asked why they were wearing NPP t-shirts when they knew very well that day they were having a rally. Then whilst they bounced on them and they were beating them, the community also massed and were marching to save the boys. Then the current MP pulled out a gun and shot more than 10 times. And this is for the record, we have thousands of witnesses to this. He shot more than 10 times. And his supporters also shot guns. Then he incited his supporters to come, when they come to Yagaba, where he is from, that's his hometown. But this is the district capital, so we all have our residences here. I have family here in Yagaba, okay? They got here, and he incited a youth to go and vandalize my property. That's my house, and I know you've been there. My party office, you can see the windows all vandalized. The only radio station in the district, which we are using to educate the people and also in terms of development use, was also vandalized by those criminals. So the good news is that the security agencies have picked out a good number of suspects, both MPP and NDC. The MPP, some MPP and also some NDC suspects have gone through and they've secured bail for them. Investigation is still ongoing. Whoever, because we have video footage of the vandalization, okay? We have video footage of the vandalization, and the people who did the vandalization are captured in the video. So the security agencies have access to those videos, and they'll do their work. I as a parliamentary candidate for Yagaba Kubori, have total confidence in the security agency, and I know they are going to do a very good work. My only appeal is to all party supporters in MPP here in Yagaba Kubori to be calm. They should remain calm, and let's give the police, the security agencies, the opportunity to do their work.
So those were some key persons involved in that clash. My colleague Ilyas Tanko, Northeast correspondent, spoke to. We understand the court case has been adjourned, and we'll furnish you with details in subsequent bulletins. Well, residents of Takwa and Soyam have vowed to vote out the Nanado-led New Patriotic Party come December 7 if their deplorable roads are not fixed. They say after 20 years of voting for the NPP, they are yet to see development in the constituency. Well, my colleague visited the area and has come through with this report.
The Takwan Soham municipality is made up of about 438 communities, one of the richest in Ghana in terms of natural resources. But residents say for the past 2 decades, they have not had any major development in the area, adding their roads have deteriorated over the years.
Our roads are very bad and nobody is paying attention.
And then the whole day from Takra de Deba, Bonne ben na takwayaye.
We have voted for the NPP for 2 years without development. We will vote the NPP out this
4 years. You road in our say. Sisi atakwa baby obefebia ye road in ye. Bonne ben na takwaya dia Ghana. Na ya tekwa ha na development bian cause this year we have decided to change the government.
We are suffering, especially the pregnant women. Authorities must fix the road.
Member of Parliament for Takwan Suaim, George Mirekuduka, says there are plans to put the roads in shape in January 2021.
Luckily, Parliament has approved 95 million euro to reconstruct Takrade to Takwa, and that credit must go to His Excellency the President of the Republic. But for this election, would have even started the sword cutting ceremony. But if the president comes to cut the sword, it's for the purposes of the election, and we don't want that to happen. So we'll do that immediately after the election in January, then get the road done. From Nsayem Station to that of Mile 5 Junction, we're also doing the police enclave. We're doing the Zongo link roads, and the station is going to be paved. This is what we're talking about.
An independent candidate, Joycelyn Appiah, says she is bent on splitting the NPP's vote come December 7. But incumbent Mirekuduka says he's unperturbed because the people will vote based on his track record.
I see myself contesting the others, not an individual. We're 6 in number, so I'm not worried at all. I have the deeds of my people at heart. I mean, their plight is my concern, and I believe they will not disown me.
Takwan Suaim has been a stronghold of the NPP over the years. It's unclear if the voting trend will change in the coming elections.
Aisha Ibrahim with that report, and you're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Thank you so much for staying. Coming up shortly in business, credit unions call for government support to cushion them against the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Darryl Kwao is standing by with details. Do stay.
Morning everyone, time for business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Credit Unions Association of Ghana is calling on government to cushion the union as some of its members continue to feel the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to them, the pandemic has affected businesses of many members, most of whom are unable to service their loans. Richard Kojunyako has more from the annual general meeting of the Ogwa Teachers Cooperative Credit Union held in Cape Coast.
The credit unions in the country are unions that deal mostly with low-income earners in the Ghanaian society. Every year, the leadership of the credit unions render accounts of their stewardship to the members at the annual general meetings. General Manager of the Association of Cooperative Credit Unions at the annual general meeting of the Ogwa Teachers Cooperative Credit Union believes with the turbulence the financial sector faced in recent times, it is only the credit unions that can mitigate the hardships. Emmanuel Kofi says even though the credit unions are not doing badly now, they will require the support of government.
The credit unions are still performing. It means that it is a financial institution that has come to stay because it's only credit unions that can mitigate the hardship that we are faced with. With this COVID issue, we're expecting that government will also come to the aid of credit unions to support the credit unions because a lot of people need money, loans, to work, to trade, to actually establish something for themselves. But the money that we gather as credit unions is not so much such that we can give so much to people for that development. So when this support is given by government, we believe that a lot of people will be helped, and that will make the whole country to get to another level.
Regional Manager of the Cooperative Credit Unions, Prince Darlington Boateng, says the credit unions have to put in place interventions to cushion their members in the face of the pandemic.
Some of our members were not able to pay their loans on schedule because of the lockdown and all those things. But as credit union, because we are members based, we try as much as possible to cushion our members in terms of reduction in the loan interest in the COVID period, so that it will help them also ease the financial challenges they are facing. And so we gave them a reduction in interest to be able to help them to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on the members.
Outgoing board chair of the Ogua Cooperative Credit Union, Nana Kojo Boateng, says the year under review has been good and they are expecting a better year in 2021.
The year under review, Ogua Teachers Credit Union has performed very well. We've had few challenges. I'm sure, obviously, like we all know, the financial crisis, COVID and all that, we didn't receive as much as we expected, and so it affected the business as a whole. So I must say that we've not done badly. We've had few challenges, but by and large, we will thank God for everything that has happened. But we are still standing on our feet. As you can see, the prospects are high for growth and for profitability.
For Joy Business, Richard Kwejunyakun reporting from Cape Coast.
Quickly, we'll take you to the launch of a National Information Center by Kadeo for the December 7 elections.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. So we'll move on and take some remarks, very brief remarks from our partners. We'll start with the Electoral Commission, and we'll take remarks from Dr. Srebo Kweku, who is the Director of Elections.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning. I will take the leave of the protocol raised by my brother, Sheikh Aramaya, and I will bring the greetings from the Electoral Commission. I'm here with my colleague, Director for Research and Monitoring, Mr. Kubia. The Electoral Commission is grateful to be here. As part of some of our beliefs, there should be transparency. And transparency means that we